What really happens when a celebrity feels cornered? What if a single Instagram story is enough to ignite a media war that could destroy an entire career? And what if the people speaking out are not anonymous trolls, but insiders who claim they know everything? Welcome to Magazine News and Gossip. Before we dive deep into one of the most explosive celebrity scandals shaking Italy right now, make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and stay with us until the very end, because what you're about to hear may completely change the way you see Can Yaman. Friends, social media is on fire. And this time, the spotlight is on Can Yaman, not for a new project, not for a romantic appearance, but for reasons that are darker, heavier, and far more dangerous. It all started quietly, almost harmlessly. An Instagram story. Can Yaman decided to speak directly to the Italian press. Not with anger, not with aggression, but with a message that tried to sound calm, diplomatic, and reasonable. Yet beneath the surface, many noticed something else. Anxiety, pressure, even desperation. In that message, Can asked Italian journalists not to copy and paste negative news coming from Turkey. He openly suggested that the Turkish media had always been unfairly harsh toward him. This was not just a request. It was a preemptive move. A clear attempt to control the narrative before something bigger exploded. But the question is simple. Why now? What was Can Yaman trying to stop? That Instagram story did not calm the situation. It detonated it. Because that message was the final straw for Alessandro Rosica. If you follow Italian gossip culture, you know exactly who he is. A self-proclaimed social investigator with more than 2 million followers. A man feared by celebrities and loved by scandal-hungry audiences. And this time, Rosica showed absolutely no mercy. His response was brutal, public, and unforgiving. Rosica told Can Yaman to stop playing the victim. No soft words, no diplomacy, just a direct hit. But what truly shocked Italy and stunned fans in Spain was not only Rosica's reply. It was what followed in the comments. A comment that changed everything. A comment written by a man named Stefano Papa. And this is where the story takes a terrifying turn. Stefano Papa is not a random internet user. Rosica made sure to confirm his identity publicly. Papa is the owner of Sanctuary, one of the most exclusive and popular nightclubs, a place where Can Yaman reportedly spent many of his nights. And what Stefano Papa wrote was explosive. He openly asked Can Yaman whether he had returned to save the occupied house, or whether he had come back to clean the cocaine out of the drawers. Yes, you heard that correctly. The word cocaine was written clearly, publicly, without hesitation. A direct accusation. A devastating implication. Not whispered rumors, not coded language, but a straight connection between Can Yaman and drug use within his inner circle. As if that was not enough, Papa sarcastically referred to him as Grand Sandrogram, a cruel wordplay mixing the heroic Sandokan image with drugs. This was not gossip. This was a public execution of an image. The perfect gentleman. The noble heartthrob. The son of Istanbul. All of it suddenly looked like a carefully built illusion. But the personal drama goes even deeper. According to Alessandro Rosica, this story is not only about substances or nightclubs. It is also about betrayal. A betrayal that cuts far deeper than any headline. Rosica claimed that Can Yaman was not just a regular guest at Stefano Papa's club, enjoying free access and hospitality. He allegedly betrayed that friendship in the worst possible way, by stealing his girlfriend. And who is that woman? Sarah Bluma. Rosica confirmed that Sarah was Stefano Papa's partner and that Can, using his closeness and trust, inserted himself between them. Rosica described Sarah as a very peculiar and strange personality and accused Jan Yaman of being a compulsive liar who must finally tell the truth instead of hiding behind press releases that portray him as a victim. The tension escalated even further when Rosica issued what sounded like a final warning. "I am not someone who can be bought. Remember that. My name is not Maria." This sentence shook Italian media. It was a direct reference to Maria de Filippi, one of the most powerful television figures in Italy, who has protected and promoted Jan Yaman for years. Rosica made it clear that he has no protectors, owes nothing to anyone, and will not soften the truth in exchange for favors, exclusives, or studio appearances. His message to Jan was chilling. Silence would be his best option. Because between him, his ex Sarah, and his so-called good friends and managers, everyone is walking on extremely thin ice. And then came the line that froze everyone. "This will continue." Rosica made it clear that this is not a passing rumor. This is the beginning of a war. A war in which he claims to possess information capable of exposing Jan Yaman completely. And he is ready to use it. What we are witnessing is a reputation hanging by a thread. Accusations of drug use, betrayal of friends, manipulation of the media, all coming not from distant observers, but from people who were allegedly part of his inner circle. So the questions multiply. What else does Rosica know? What evidence does Stefano Papa have about what was really inside those drawers? And why is Jan Yaman completely silent? Because silence, in moments like this, speaks louder than any denial. Normally, when someone accuses you of something so outrageous, you respond immediately. You deny it. You sue. You explode. But here, nothing. Only that earlier Instagram message asking for mercy from the press. A message that now feels less like a defense and more like a white flag. Is Rosica right? Does Jan know that denying the obvious would only make things worse? His most loyal fans, the so-called Little Bautais, are now standing at a brutal crossroads. Continue defending blindly or start listening to the testimonies of people who actually lived close to him. And let's not forget Sarah Bluma. The woman Jan allegedly betrayed a friend for is now working as a DJ, moving forward with her life, while he remains alone at the center of the storm. That contrast alone speaks volumes. Rosica has opened Pandora's box, and he promised that this is only the beginning. These are without question the most critical hours for Jan Yaman on Italian soil. Will there be an official statement? Or will he retreat to Turkey, hoping the storm passes? And now think about the business side of this scandal. Imagine the offices of the Sandokan production company right now. Millions of euros invested in an international superproduction. And the lead actor surrounded by a dark cloud that smells like a massive scandal. Brands hate controversy. Sponsors fear words like cocaine and betrayal. Networks avoid risk like the plague. If Stefano Papa decides to speak more, if he decides to show evidence, if stories from those nights at Sanctuary start coming out, Jan Yaman's career in Italy could suffer a blow from which it may never fully recover. This is no longer simple gossip. This is about power, money, reputation, and survival. And trust me, if you think this story ends here, you are wrong. Because something tells me the next bomb from Rosica is already on its way. If you made it this far, make sure you subscribe to magazine news and gossip, turn on notifications, like the video, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Because this story is far from over.